Welcome to the Corner Carol. My name is Laura Malkus, and I am the Vice President at Fells Point Corner Theater. You may or may not know that for many years, FPCT hosted a Christmas program followed by a community potluck meal. It is in this spirit that we invited our brilliant volunteer artist collaborators to bring an offering to this table. We are fiercely, passionately grateful for their many generous gifts, and you can find artist information as well as a track listing online at fpct.org/cornercarol. In a year that has made us all reinvent art and togetherness, we are profoundly grateful to everyone who has helped us navigate and survive this year. From all of us at FPCT, happy, merry everything, and joy and peace to you and yours in 2021.
We all miss gathering, but we still can, only electronically. Our recorded voices are vestiges of us, a part of me, Kimberley Lynne. And if we connect all the jagged pieces in unison, we might be whole again in these dark times, or at least a glass half full. For we still have reason to celebrate. We tell stories in order to exist. In this sacred month, when all cultures stand under the waning winter sun and feel gratitude in so many shapes, Fells Point Corner Theater invites you to congregate and listen to the art of the season in music and storytelling across all religions, inclusive and intimate and heartening. I call the spirits of the holidays and the spirits of this theater to bring us together so we can click the rock of hope and cast the spark of life. Release the anxiety of the day. Breathe with me. Enjoy the pleasure of each breath. We are alive and present. In this audiocast, performers will sing and recite poems and folklore. We'll include my favorite of Christmas classics, A Christmas Carol, That Blessed Tale of Redemption. Character evolves from the conflict put before it, and we are all transforming now and forging our path to a higher ground. Art will help us with that struggle, for art heals. Merry, merry, everybody, and God and the universe bless us, everyone.
Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 20. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This census first took place while Cariaso was governing Syria. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now, there were in the same country shepherds living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were greatly afraid. Then the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be the sign to you. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling cloths, lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward all." So it was, when the angels had gone away from them into heaven, that the shepherds said to one another, "Let us now go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has come to pass, which the Lord has made known to us." And they came with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. Now, when they had seen him, they made widely known the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all those who heard it marveled at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen, as it was told them.
I don't remember exactly how the ugly pink elephant Christmas tree ornament came to be mine. I suspect it resulted from a trip to Valley View Farms, where I had been given a few dollars to pick out an ornament, and I imagine that my cash wasn't enough to buy something truly cool that required batteries and was heavy enough to pull a Christmas tree branch all the way to the floor. And so I chose the ugliest ornament I could find, one I knew my mother wouldn't appreciate on her beautifully decorated tree. Her exclamation of, "Ooh, not that one," most likely spurred me on. So the pink elephant became mine, and my brother picked out a similar, horrifyingly ugly ornament, and we proceeded to hang them proudly on the front of the tree for all to see. My mother, at first, her tree otherwise perfectly styled, would encourage us to hang them in the back, out of view. She actually moved them there herself every once in a while, only to find them prominently displayed again as soon as my brother and I realized what she had done. This became a sort of tradition as we aged, and because she is the keeper of all good things in our family, eventually my mother became fiercely protective of our ugly Christmas ornaments, gently wrapping them in tissue paper at the end of each holiday season and putting them away with all of her other ornaments. Ironically, after we grew up and left home, it was my mother who would hang the ornaments on her tree each year and point out their prominent display whenever we visited. In many ways, the pink elephant ornament proved an apt metaphor for me. And bless her, my mother never moved me to the back of the tree that was her life. As a young adult, even as I struggled with my many demons, she kept me proudly displayed, ugliness and all, smiling with me, joking with me, loving me unconditionally. So as we prepare to unpack, unwrap, and show off all of our ornaments for this year's tree, I want to say Merry Christmas, moms and dads, from all of your grateful pink elephants.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices are silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale drooping maiden who toils her life away with a worn heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be merry, 'tis sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a sigh that is wafted across the troubled wave. 'Tis a wail that is heard upon the shore. 'Tis a dirge that is mumbled around the lowly grave. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no
Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were all nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eye did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all!
As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Everyone knows Charles Dickens' classic tale, A Christmas Carol. But did you know that telling ghost stories used to be a Christmas Eve tradition? I would like to bring this back with my own story. So please sit back, get comfortable, blow on your warm drink, and enjoy. For my family, Christmas Eve begins as the sun rises. My sisters and I gather around the kitchen table, preparing the tamales and pozole for the next day. And while we do this, we trade family gossip, and my grandmother can be found sitting nearby with her coffee, listening in and adding context. With the last of the decorations set, the loteria sitting nearby, and the fridge full, we said goodnight. As I settled into bed, I began to drift off to sleep when I heard a faint but familiar voice. "Mija, Mija," the voice whispered as I strained to identify the source. As my eyes adjusted, I realized that my Uncle Mario was sitting at the foot of my bed. I remember being confused, How did he manage to come in without me noticing? Tio Mario, what are you doing? I mumbled before a cold chill ran down my spine, freezing my voice as I looked at my uncle. My uncle had died 2 years earlier. I was struck by a sudden terror and a temptation to cry out, alerting the house to this otherworldly visitor. But before I could make a noise, he took my hand in his. And to my surprise, his hand was warm, and a feeling of calm washed over me. I realized I missed him so much and didn't care what this was. Merry Christmas, mija. I love you so much and can't wait to be with the family tomorrow, he said. He smiled and squeezed my hand before quietly getting up and walking out the door. The next morning, as I joined my family in setting the table, I quietly added a chair. Oh my God, he came to you too? My sister Lizzie asked, and before I could answer, my sister Karen responded, I saw him too. I had tried to convince myself that my uncle's visit was a dream born out of a long day, but as we recounted the details of his visit, it became clear that this was no dream. He visits me all the time, my grandmother chimed in. In the excitement, I barely noticed her listening to our discussion, and before we had time to respond, she took another sip of her coffee, laughed, and went about the work of preparing the table. As my family arrived for dinner, we shared the tale of Uncle Mario's visit. I'm still not sure what really happened. Could we have all had the same ghostly visit? What we do know is that we served that empty chair the best tamales, buñuelos, and a spike champurrado at the end of the night. I know it hurts when we look around the table and miss seeing a beloved face, but I hope you will join me in adding a chair to your table this holiday in honor of those who have passed on and who we will celebrate again with someday. Until then, Merry Christmas and good night.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty winds made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long, long ago. Angels and archangels may have gathered there. Cherubim and seraphim thronging in the air. But the Mother Mary, in her maiden bliss, worshipped the beloved with a mother's kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man,
Catherine the Mouse spends my money. I am petrified that she'll spend faster than I can earn. Just like my father's habit that landed the whole damn family in debtor's prison. I feel as if I've been working for centuries. First at the factory, then at the attorney's, then as court reporter. Now I am compelled to deliver more, yet more novels. I am a one-man novel-writing factory. I deliver 90 pages a month on average. I wrote 2,000 pages in a month during Pickwick. The children are voracious, and they all eat and grow beyond their clothes and demand the doctor. But it isn't just the children, it's all the servants I support, and my brother Fred, and my irresponsible parents. I categorically refuse to assume my father's debts a third time. He's been cutting my signature out of letters and selling them. Mouse says that he lifts a gold half-crown or two every time he visits. And he has of late been forging my name to obtain credit. I'll paint the scene of the counting house that Mary led you to. See it from the street outside first, like the entrance in the dream. Christmas Eve with a much too careful old man. Oh, and the weather will reflect it. Once upon a time, of all good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather. The fog came pouring in every chink and keyhole. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clock's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal, wherefore the clerk tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of a strong imagination, he failed. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew. "Bah, humbug!" "Christmas? A humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough." "Oh, come then. What right have you to be dismal? You're rich enough." "Oh, he's a cheery fool, this flat-mouthed nephew, this over-anxious, face-aglow business failure, named Fred. My brother Fred, made young. Oh, I wonder if this nephew's careful with his funds. Well, certainly my brother Fred is not. He is very much his father's son, whereas I understood very early the import of cash flow. When I was 12, I divided up my precious earnings into equal piles and wrapped and labeled each one for each day of the week, a hoarded brown packet a day. Well, that way I could save up for beer. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? Oh, if I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with a Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stick of holly through his heart. Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way, and let me keep it in mine. Much good may it do you, much good it has ever done you." Well, I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. Well, the only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem, by one consent, to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good, and will do me good. And I say, God bless it. where the clerk involuntarily applauded. Let me hear another sound from you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. Oh, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow. Why did you get married? Oh, that takes the cake, as my mouse says. When I married my mouse, and by marriage to my editor's daughter, I was fulfilling every Englishman's dream of prosperity, of house, home, and family. Oh, but look to this Fred. Why did this Fred marry? Because I fell in love. Because you fell in love. Good afternoon. Nay, Uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. What give it is a reason for not coming now? Good afternoon. Want nothing of you? I ask nothing from you. Why cannot we be friends? Good afternoon. I've made the trial an homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humour to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle. Good afternoon. And a Happy New Year. Good afternoon. Oh, I like this Scrooge fellow. He's a strong voice, and he knows his own opinions. But will he sell books? How can a protagonist who doesn't sanction marriage please my public?
Ring out, wild bells, to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out, wild bells, and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring, happy bells, across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause, and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life, with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right, ring in the common love of good. Ring out old shapes of foul disease, ring out the narrowing lust of gold. Ring out the 1,000 wars of old, ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kindlier hand. Ring out the darkness of the land, ring in the Christ that is to be.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne will keep a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We too have run about the slopes and picked the daisies fine, but we've wandered many a weary foot since Auld Lang Syne. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll keep a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll keep a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne.
During these uncertain times, it's easy to feel powerless. We owe ourselves the space to acknowledge the losses, people, stories, routines, expectations that have all changed. But even in the darkness, there are still some things which bring relief, joy, like gratitude. Gratitude helps fill us up. And so, as we approach the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, we at FPCT want to reach out and express our gratitude to you. We miss you all, and you are not alone. In our thespian tradition, the way to express gratitude is through applause. And so tonight, in a cunning reversal of roles, applause will be our gift to you. Together we will round the corner on this long stretch of darkness and move back towards the warmth of the sun. May the coming days be filled with the growing light of gratitude, and may we soon all be together again. From the whole family here, thank you for being here with us.